Okay, so welcome everyone to Middlesex County Council, Tuesday, October 11th, 2022 at 1:01 p.m. We will be opening up with our land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Arawadaran, the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenapehoik peoples who have a long-standing relationships to the land, water, and region of southwestern Ontario. The local First Nation communities of this area include Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames First Nation, and Munsee Delaware Nation. This building is on a land within the area of Treaties 21 and 29 and the London Township Treaty 6. We value the significant contributions, both in the past and the present, of local and regional First Nations of Turtle Island. We acknowledge the historic and ongoing injustices that Indigenous peoples endure in Canada, and we affirm our commitment to honoring Indigenous voices, nations, and cultures, and to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. So I'm going to call this meeting to order, and I just have a few remarks to begin with. Over the past holiday weekend, it was my pleasure to volunteer at the Dorchester Fair. The crowds were large and genuinely glad to be attending a fair once more. Throughout the county of Middlesex, we are so lucky to have strong agricultural societies preserving our traditional skills, whether it be showing livestock, sewing and cooking skills, or entering prized vegetables, flowers, or field crops. It's inspiring to see fairs celebrating milestones like Dorchester's, 167th year of hosting a fair. It's always amazing to think of our early residents coming together, leaving behind the toils of their lives and traveling to the local fair, meeting either to rejoice or to console each other on each year's harvest. As my position as the warden of Middlesex County, I am appreciative and aware of the economic benefits of our fall fairs. In Ontario, 2012 fairs are held yearly, and they range from the smallest fairs up to our premier event, the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair. Every fair brings tourists into our communities, helps support vendors, midway operators, musicians, and artists, and gives people a chance to have new and fun experiences in their own communities. Fairs allow rural people an opportunity to educate and welcome people to our rural lifestyle. The economic impact of our fall fairs in Canada is a staggering figure totaling over $1 billion of revenue to our communities across the nation. Ontario fall fairs alone generate approximately $700 million annually. And all of this revenue is because of the hard work of our agricultural societies and the support they receive from our residents. It's no secret that the last couple of years have been a challenge for our agricultural societies, but I know that our rural communities are resourceful and resilient, and that is the strength of our rural communities. It's a great example to us all. Thank you. And now, can I ask for any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Hearing and seeing none. Any business arising from the minutes? No. Now we're moving on to the minutes of September 27th, 2022 County Council meeting. I'd like to move that they would be approved as presented and that the recommendations made by the Committee of the Whole as set out in the minutes of September 27th, 2022 be adopted. Looking for a mover, Councillor Richards, thank you. Seconded by Councillor DeVete. All in favor? Any deputations? No. Inquiries of notice of motion? None. No reports. New business. And I believe this is the 8A, Execulink Telecom Incorporated, Telecommunications Municipal Access Agreement, and a report from our county barrister and solicitor, Wayne Meeker. Go ahead, Wayne.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Through you to council, Execulink wishes to enter into a telecommunications municipal access agreement with the county. As council is aware, the county has a blanket form of MAA, which is being used by all municipalities in Middlesex County, and that is the one that Execulink wishes to sign. And so the recommendation here is that the Execulink Municipal Access Agreement be approved and endorsed by the county.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Mayhew, seconded by Councillor Vanderheyden. All in favor? So moved. Now moving on to 8B, External Audit Services, a report from Cindy Howard General Manager of Finance and Community Services. Whenever you're ready.
Thanks, and through the warden. KPMG was originally selected in 2007 due to their experience with asset accounting. Over the years, KPMG has provided high quality and value-added service to the county. KPMG is a national firm and can draw upon this experience when required. In the past, we have used this experience, such as the sale of the county building. The county has grown over the years, and so has the complexity. We're more complex, how about that, of our operations. For example, I must have had too much turkey. For example, land ambulance, the growth of the community paramedicine, our childcare, such as the National Childcare Strategy, and one-time funding that we received because of COVID-19. KPMG has a local office in London, which allows us to reach out if we have any accounting questions. KPMG informs us of regulatory changes, forwards relevant publications, and shares invites to webinars. Attached is a report for the audit proposal for the years 2022 to 2026. The proposal outlines the services and costs. The increase in cost reflects this increased complexity that I just mentioned, and of course, we have inflation. At this time, I'm recommending that I'm recommending the recommendation in the report that the county appoint KPMG for the audit years 2022 to 2026, authorize and approve the agreement, and authorize the warden and clerk to sign the agreement. And I'm always happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for Cindy? Councillor Rob.
Thank you through the warden to Cindy. Cindy, did they assign different people to our account each time, or is it the same people auditing?
Through the warden to the councillor, answering your question. I can tell you during my time, we've had at least 4 different managers, which I believe is a good thing. And we also have some staff that come and some staff that leave, which again, so we have some continuity and we also have some change. And I always say it's almost like we have a new auditor every few years when we get a new manager. They ask a lot of new questions. They have some different ideas and different experience. So I think that's all really good for us. However, having some continuity, such as the partner, is good because it also saves time in terms of our staff time and of course the auditor, so that they can stay within the proposal that they've outlined.
Okay, thank you, because that's what I was wondering about, having a fresh set of eyes looking at this from time to time rather than the same people. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so we have a motion in front of us that we appoint KPMG as the auditor for the County of Middlesex Trust Funds, Middlesex County Library Board, Middlesex London Emergency Medical Service Authority, and Strathmere Lodge Long-Term Care Annual Report for the audit years 2022 to 2026, and that we authorize and approve the agreement between KPMG and the county for the provision of external audit services, and authorize the warden and the clerk to execute the agreement. Looking for a mover for this. Councillor Ropp, thank you. Councillor Vanderheyden, all in favor? So moved. Now moving on to 8C, a request for a quotation T28 2023 3/4 ton diesel crew cab pickup truck, and that would be our county engineer.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I'll try to keep these, they're all fairly straightforward reports. I'll try to keep them fairly brief. Had some good news this year with our tenders across the board. In the fact in this tender here for the crew cab trucks, we weren't able to receive any qualified bids the last couple of years. So happy to see we're getting some of the marketplace back open to us for being able to put these through our normal procurement process. So this is one that we bid out that was crew cab that was not able to be replaced the last time we tendered it out. We're happy to see that we got 3 quotes this time around. We're recommending the low bid from Larry McDonald Chevrolet Buick GMC for a Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD at a cost of $72,400 plus HST be accepted. And just so you know, the budgeted amount for this was back in 2021 with $65,000. And of course, this predates the massive rise in inflation and the competition in the marketplace and the supply and demand. So the recommendation is, although it is well over our budget estimate, we are still recommending purchase of the truck at this time. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay, so we have a motion that says that the bid submitted by Larry McDonald Chevrolet Buick GMC for the supply of one Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD be accepted, and that the county engineer be authorized to undertake all administrative acts necessary in connection with this project, including execution of any contract or other documents if required. Mover, Councillor Mayhew, seconder, Councillor Elliott, all in favor? So moved. Now moving on to 8D, and that would be a request for quotation T33 2023 3/4 ton 4x4 gas pickup truck. Chris?
Thank you, Madam Warden. A little closer to our budget estimates this time around for this vehicle. This is our 4x4 truck that is intended for use by the bridge foreman. So it does haul a trailer, which is why we have the 4x4. It's gasoline fueled because it's a supervisor's truck, and the supervisors can fuel at any location, need to be prepared 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for emergency callouts. So again, this fits in with our fleet and is as per our equipment replacement guide. This one came in at $60,900. It's also a Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD, again from Larry McDonald Chevrolet Buick GMC. I would just note that although these trucks have the same model name and number, they are different specifications in these trucks. I can get into more detail about that, but that's why this one would come in just over 60,000, and which is much cheaper than the other crew cabs and the other patrol trucks that you see in the reports today. I'll be happy to answer any questions about the report.
Okay, any questions? All right, so we have a recommendation in front of us that the bid submitted by Larry McDonald Chevrolet Buick GMC for the supply of one Chevy Silverado 2500 HD at the cost of $60,900 be accepted, and the county engineer be authorized to undertake all administrative acts necessary in connection with this project, including execution of any other contract or other documents if required. Mover, Councillor Richard, and seconded by Councillor Corneliuson. All in favor? So moved. Now moving on to 8E, request for quotation T3 2023 and T20 2023 3/4 ton 4x4 diesel pickup trucks. Chris?
Thank you, Madam Warden. It's nice to hear that Warden takes longer to read out the recommendation than it does take me to present the report. Again, these are 4x4 diesel pickup trucks. Again, Chevrolet Silverados 2500 HDs from Larry McDonald Chevrolet Buick GMC. There are two of these trucks. These are our patrol trucks. These get a lot of use. Usually when these go back out of circulation from a county vehicle, they'll have over 400,000 kilometers on these vehicles. And they get a lot of work in the wintertime, which is why we quote for a 4x4 just to keep our staff safe when they're out on those roads 24 hours a day in all weather conditions. So, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the report.
Okay. As a former patroller, I can vouch for the necessary need for a 4x4 in the winter. You never know what you're going to find out there at 3 o'clock in the morning. Any questions regarding this report? No, if not, then again, we have a motion that the bid submitted by Larry McDonald Chevrolet Buick GMC for the supply of two Chevrolet Silverados 2500 HD be accepted, and that the county engineer be authorized to undertake all administrative acts necessary in connection with this project, including execution of any contract or other documents if required. Mover, please. Councillor DeVitt, seconded by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? So moved. And now, finale, Chris. 8F, request for quotation T17 2023 and T37 2023 tandem trucks with snowplow equipment.
And thank you once again, Madam Warden. Again, this one is coming in very close to our estimates, a little bit less. Again, two trucks. These are snowplow trucks, obviously from Premier Truck Group in London. These are Freightliner 114 SD with Detroit Diesel 13 engines and Viking plow equipment at a cost of $351,000 even plus HST, and recommending the bid be accepted.
Okay, any questions? Other than why Larry McDonald doesn't sell these two? All right, so I'm looking for a mover. Councillor Ropp, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? So moved. And now we have time for councillors' comments. And I believe Councillor Burkhart Jessen, you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Warden. I just want to report to council that guess it was 2 weeks ago, due to a conflict in the warden's schedule. She asked me to represent her at a meeting at MPP Rob Flack's office. And he had brought to the area Minister Clark. And Minister Clark was in St. Thomas to make an announcement for a social service announcement for St. Thomas. And so MPP Flack took it upon himself then to invite all of the mayors from Elgin County, and then obviously the warden from Elgin, and then the warden from Middlesex. And we were able to meet with Minister Clark for about an hour, and it was a great discussion. And certainly a lot of the questions and comments that the Elgin mayors had were very similar to discussions that we're all having in Middlesex. But I was able to pose the question to Minister Clark about the official plan and why his ministerial, he had used his ministerial authority to stop the approval process. And he assured me that within the next month or two, that was going to be reopened. So we can hold him to that. I think there was a number of us in the room that held that, but it was a good discussion, and it was great to hear from our colleagues in Elgin as well.
Yes, and I want to thank you for doing that for me. I was at the OFA event that we're helping municipal candidates understand the role of the OFA in the county. Now, I also do want to say at this time, I want to thank Jessica and I for organizing an event on October 5th, a webinar that was called Ladders to Kindness. It was on training about truth and reconciliation. And I know that many of the staff members from the County of Middlesex attended, as well as I know Councillor Ropp was on the call too. And I think it was a very significant and very moving webinar. And thank you again for organizing that for us. Councillor Vanderheen.
Yes, thank you. Through the warden, I just want to thank Kara Finn, our Director of Economic Development. She was in Strathroy Caradoc today. We had an opportunity to meet with the Strathroy Area Chamber of Commerce. The women that are involved with that, they get invited once a month to have conversation just to find out how women in business are doing. And Kara did a really great job giving us the information on what the county's doing economic wise, and tourism, and all the programs that are out there right now. You just have to go to our websites and you see all the different opportunities for businesses. And Kara, I don't know if you want to speak to that for a minute, but I thought it went very well and you were very well received. So thank you for being there.
Through you, Warden, to the councillor, thank you very much. To Councillor Vanderheyden, it was lovely to see you there this morning. A great group of women out, thoroughly engaged in their community and really wanting to connect. And we're always happy to take those opportunities on and to share what we're doing across the county and in our lower tier municipalities as well. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, great. Any other comments? If not, normally we would move on to bylaws. I'm just going to ask council's permission that we defer bylaws to the end of the meeting, and we'll move into the committee of the whole now. So looking for a mover to go into committee of the whole at 1:20 p.m. Councillor Burkhart Jessen, seconded by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? So moved. And our first is 11A, and that is 11A1 Economic Development Council update. And it looks like Kara's ready to go.
Thank you very much, Warden. As was expressed by the Councillor Vanderheyden, I did have an opportunity to share some of this information with the community today as well, and I'm delighted to be here to share more with County Council. So as you know, I often like to come and provide you an update on all that we have going on and all that we will have going on as well. So we could advance. First thing, of course, is just to remind council, you're very familiar with the economic development strategic objectives that were set out in the economic development strategic plan by the council and by staff, together with our stakeholders over the course of the last couple of years. And so, of course, all of the work that we do aligns very nicely with that strategic plan, but also the overarching strategic plan of the county. And it's very important that all of our initiatives and efforts go towards these goals. One of the things that we've done recently in July, we launched a business retention and expansion study, another evolution of the economic resiliency task force work that was done throughout the initial years of the pandemic is really to touch base with our existing businesses, talk to them about what their plans are, what they have experienced. And I'm delighted to be able to tell you that the results of that feedback were exceptionally positive. We did a 25 question survey, and we've created a report that will act as a benchmarking tool, not only for our internal staff, but also for direction of council and future budgets. We have created a series of 7 infographic reports similar to the one that you see there with respect to key sectors and the information that we heard. And we'll be releasing those over a period of time on our social media as well as on our website. We have garnered additional contacts through this for our quarterly newsletter with people wanting to be further engaged. We've made people aware of new programs like our business appreciation program that we launched earlier in the year, which allows us to acknowledge anniversary dates of businesses or any major milestones as well as new openings on a formal basis. And we've also gauged some interest for one of the other projects that I'm going to be talking about today, which is the interest of our employers in engaging our young people in cooperative education and work integrated learning, which we know is one of those very important things we need to be doing now in order to assist with our labor gaps. Also a little bit of chat about our community improvement plans. As you know, we have been working diligently with our local municipalities on this effort for a couple of years now. We're very excited to see Adelaide Metcalf joining with the other 5 municipalities that already have community improvement plans in place, and they'll begin the implementation of their CIP in 2023. And we're continuing to work with those local municipalities to support those CIP investments, those that align with the county's official plan and the economic development strategic plan, and to refine them accordingly as per community and stakeholder needs. Also, a big part of our work, of course, is in regional foreign direct investment. This is my 2nd year acting as co-chair for the Ontario Food Cluster, which, as you know, is a conglomerate of 14 municipal partners, as well as the province, engaged in the attraction of particularly food-related processors and manufacturers into our communities. We've also been invited and sponsored this year for membership in the Ontario Manufacturing Communities Alliance, which is another conglomerate of municipalities throughout Ontario that really felt a genuine interest in having Middlesex County join them. Provincial ministries are key advisors and partners in these organizations, and the majority of our large-scale site selection bids come through these channels. We've worked with several of our local municipalities to respond to such bids with some great results, like a major project in Strathroy-Caradoc that will be announced later this fall. And together with colleagues from across Southwestern Ontario, this year we will conduct over 100 site selection meetings at 7 shows. Both groups have also met directly with the Canadian Consulate to discuss trade relations in the United States. I want to remind you that Middlesex also serves as treasurer for the Ontario Food Cluster, and as such, we were successful in garnering CAN export funding for the Ontario Food Cluster this year, which provided funds for not only lead generation, but also travel and training of economic development officers throughout Ontario. SOMA, another group that you may be familiar with from years past, Southern Ontario Marketing Alliance, has also indicated their interest in us becoming a member in 2023, and we will be inviting them to address council previous to the budget for 2023. Aside from regional FDI, of course, Middlesex County does its own foreign direct investment and lead generation. And again, we were very successful in garnering CAN export funding for our own efforts in this regard, exclusive to Middlesex County for 2022. Again, this includes travel expenses, lead generation, and training. A minimum of 30 meetings are expected to be held in total in this year alone, split between virtual and in-person as we return. Aside from all of those efforts, of course, we are engaged on a regular and consistent basis in site selection. We respond to broker, developer, planner, and client requests for industrial and commercial land on a regular basis. We are working directly with our lower tier municipalities with public lands still available, as well as with municipalities such as Middlesex Centre who are looking to bring new lands on site. Given the limited availability of publicly owned lands, we also continue working directly with private landowners and property owners across the county to attract and place new and expanding businesses into these places as well. As you know, the census information has begun to trickle out over the course of 2022, and one of the very important pieces of this puzzle is the agriculture census. With such a large sector of agriculturally related businesses in Middlesex County, one of the pieces of information that we have produced is an ag census summary. There's a full report summary available, but also an infographic as you see here. This information was shared with those elected officials that attended with the warden at the meeting with the Ontario Federation of Agriculture. And this information remains available on our website, on social media, and in a number of other ways, should you wish it. Also, in terms of agriculture and educating the public, one of the special projects we took on this year was a collaborative together with the Middlesex Federation of Agriculture to identify crops growing throughout our communities. This was actually an ask of the public in terms of identifying and educating the general public with respect to not only what crops look like growing in fields, but also their end uses. And so we want to thank the Middlesex Federation of Agriculture for being cooperative with us in placing these, and hopefully you've started to see some of these in your communities. Myself, along with Cindy Howard, have continued to co-chair the Middlesex Workforce Development Partnership over the course of the last few years. This is a really inherent group of key stakeholders in workforce development and employment services throughout the county that work together and meet on a monthly basis to talk about some of the labor gaps and how we can go about mitigating those for the best of our community. A few things that we have been able to do. We were able to garner a $50,000 grant this year from a third party to carry out a number of initiatives. First and foremost, we're continuing to sponsor workshops, and in fact just held one last week called The War for Talent, Overcoming the Talent Drought. And we had ARIA Consulting come in to Strathroy and LA Metcalf last week and presented to 20 employers from the local community about how they can start to mitigate some of the gaps. We also did a Young Entrepreneurs Business Plan contest again this year. This is a really fun contest that we've been able to put on for the last couple of years for young people ages 8 to 12 and 13 to 18 that present their ideas for a new business in the county and subsequently are able to win a Chromebook to help them launch their business. Also, in terms of workforce development, I'm very excited to tell you that we have just been awarded an additional grant of $105,000 to launch a very special project that we presented to several funders. This is going to allow us to hire a liaison to work with us over the course of the next 15 months and to build a special platform on our existing Work in Middlesex website that is totally devoted to cooperative education and work integrated learning opportunities. We're going to be working together with Middlesex employers from across the county to talk to them about the benefits of interacting with our young people and to get them working in integrated learning, cooperative education. We're also going to be extending this not only to high school students, but also to post-secondary. And we have a lot of interest in this project. So we're very excited to get that going right away. In another realm, we're always looking for opportunities to expand upon the services that we already provide. And we are partnering together with a group called GIS Planning. And I want to thank the planning department, the IT department for working with us on this. We are going to be replacing our existing business directory, as well as having the ability to customize site selection reports and other demographic data using a GIS planning tool, which is very innovative. So we're very much excited about this project. There is also an opportunity that our local municipalities may tap into this program to develop particular reports for their own communities, or they can even apply for a discount to have a similar tool placed directly on their own websites as well. As you know, we always put together a number of video projects to promote business in our area. And with the release of census data this year, we decided to take a little bit of a different approach. So this year we are actually releasing 4 key sector videos. These key sectors, of course, are agribusiness, manufacturing, tourism, and small business. So we'll be promoting those to investors as well as to our community at large. We are also releasing a new series of Making It in Middlesex, success stories from across the county as well. The success stories will be released in our newsletter, which comes out on a quarterly basis, with the first one coming out later on this month. But the key sector profile videos will also be released on our website. And we're really excited to profile today our first of our profile videos, and this one is agribusiness, and I'll ask that we put that up now.
Middlesex County is strongly rooted in agribusiness. We are proud of our agricultural heritage while being focused on the future. We are home to over 78,000 people, nearly 600,000 acres of farmland, and more than 3,000 farm operators. This agriculture provides a significant economic impact, producing over $1 billion of gross farm receipts a year, which supports a total farm capital value of over $11 billion. But do not be fooled by our rural nature. Middlesex County is well known for its state-of-the-art agri-technology and access to talent from some of Canada's top universities and colleges. These assets ensure that Middlesex-based operations are always on the leading edge of agricultural innovation. Home to historic commercial mills, as well as multinational giants, Middlesex is a smart investment not only for producers, but key players at every stage of the agribusiness ecosystem. Plus, we are strategically located with easy access to major highways, as well as nearby international airports and land borders. With great people, state-of-the-art technology, and a strategic location, agribusiness is always growing in Middlesex County.
So I want to thank Councillor Brennan for allowing us into his business and his operation to be featured in this. But I also want to thank all of the local businesses who have been a part of this and the other sector videos that we're very proud to launch. We've also been very lucky over the course of this year to be able to access additional funding for some very special tourism projects. The first one noted here is Makeover Middlesex, and you should have seen this going out on social media and coming into your inbox. This is an opportunity we have to be able to work with local artisans and to produce public art that will be showcased in high traffic tourism areas throughout Middlesex County. The opportunity is for a $2,500 contribution to these works of art, which basically can be anything from fountains and planters all the way to murals and sculptures. So we're very much looking forward to the applications that we'll receive on this, and we've already got some projects in the works. Another special project is installing EV chargers in some of our tourism sites. So we're going to be looking to work with a number of our lower tier municipalities in order to install these, and these will be done before the end of the year. We also were able this year to invest in additional grassroots trail signs. As you know, these signs have been in place for a number of years, but have been on a pay-to-play type of program with our small businesses throughout the county. This year, we were able to partner, and I want to thank the Roads Department for the partnership in this respect, in order to be able to provide our 90 by 90 centimeter signs free of charge for any businesses or groups which qualify, and they receive that free of charge for 2 years. We're also going to be working with some of our local municipalities to refurbish some of the heritage trail signs that are in need, and we've been able to do that as well by this third-party funding we've been able to access. We've also been able to generate a lot of additional creative content over the course of this year. And so we're currently building a number of photo assets as well as additional sector videos and commercials, which will be used in future years for promotion. Also, this is the second year that we've been able to have our tourism initiative sponsorship program. And so we've had a number of different groups come forward and work with us in partnership, including Lucan Summerfest, Dorchester Golf and Country Club, the Purple Hill Ram Rodeo, and a number of others that you see. This is really our opportunity to showcase all of the great work that's being done by our tourism operators and providers throughout the county, who are just absolutely innovative and pulling together new events and festivals all the time to showcase what we have to offer here in Middlesex. We also now have a very special program we have never been able to have before, but thank you to Southwestern Ontario Tourism as well as Tourism Innovation Lab. They have partnered with us on a Spark program. This Spark program is currently available for application until October 26th and is open to individuals, businesses, or nonprofit organizations throughout the county with a new tourism initiative. So if they have an idea that they would like to spark to attract tourists into Middlesex County, they can apply for this program. It's a very simple application, and then they will go into almost like a Dragon's Den pitch session, and 3 different groups will be receiving a grant of $3,000 each to spark their program, as well as a mentorship with a qualified tourism expert to help them through any of the challenges that they have in bringing that to implementation. As you know, we've been working together with a number of partners, including those from Sarnia-Lambton Economic Development and Tourism on our From Our Hands to Our Table series. This is a series that really speaks to the inherent relationship between our farm producers and our culinary providers throughout these 2 counties. We've launched another series of videos I'm very excited about, and please, by all means, you can watch for those on our social media, or you can also go to handstotable.ca to watch more. We are updating our publications on an ongoing basis. And as you know, our Trails Guide and our Culinary Guide and our Tourism Map are just some of those publications that are widely distributed throughout the region and very popular. So all of these are being updated at the current time or have been updated and will be in circulation. Always remind you that you can find our branding in a number of different ways, both Visit Middlesex and Invest in Middlesex, and our workforce planning. We are doing a lot of regional promotion as well as Ontario promotion, as well as site selection type of work in other communities as well. And as was mentioned by the warden, and I want to thank her for that shout out earlier in the year, the department has been acknowledged in a number of ways, and most recently through Hermes Awards, which are international marketing awards, not particular to economic development or tourism, but these are international awards, and we have been a recipient in all 4 categories of nomination: From Our Hands to Your Table, our grassroots trail map, our culinary guide, and our most recent tourism commercial have all been awarded either gold or platinum awards. Finally, certainly not least, but one of the other special projects I've been working on together with Cindy, Howard, is our transportation. So both looking at our current transportation needs with our pilot project in Thames Center and Oxford County, but also extending that and looking at the needs assessment for the county as a whole. So I want to thank all of council for your contributions to that process thus far, all of the stakeholders in the community. We're looking forward to bringing those recommendations to you prior to the end of the year. And with that, I would just like to thank council for all of your support, thank our staff for all of the hard work that they have put into these initiatives and continue to put into these initiatives, and to also thank all of the local municipalities and other members and directors here at the county for all of their collaboration and support over this year. We couldn't do it on our own, and we appreciate all of the partnership.
Thank you. Be able to see everything that's been going on throughout the summer. It's been a busy season, and it's always a good tourist season. It's nice to see people back in our communities again. I saw a hand up. Councillor Vanderheyden, did you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you. Through you, just two points. One, thank you, Kara, for this presentation. You know, we cannot underestimate the work that's being done for our small businesses. I know that the patios that have been put in Strathroy-Caradoc this year and last year were incredible, and they were very well received by the public and by the businesses. Those businesses were shut down for quite some time, and this gives them opportunity. And I think that's really important. That was a really good way to put some money towards people that were really working hard for our community. The second thing I wanted to talk about was our agriculture community, and I'm really glad that we still continue to really be strong in the advertising we do and the programs we have put forward for that, because it's important for the economic development of our communities and to support business. Last night about 9:30, I was sitting in my dining room, and all of a sudden these lights came barreling through my kitchen. I thought, okay, there's no road there. Okay, the beans are coming off. Like suddenly there's a combine outside my window. And I thought, okay, this is, it's pitch dark outside. So this gives me an opportunity for anyone that's listening. Please be safe out there. Please give the farm equipment an opportunity to drive on our roads, because this is the time where they really need to be out there and be safe, and just, step back, watch them enter the fields, and don't try to pass where you don't need to be passing.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Mayhew.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Through you to Kara. Kara, thanks again for that report. Kara, I noticed when the survey on the key business sectors were identified, there was, I believe, 4 of them. And I was interested in the fact that small business represented 41% of the respondents, and it was followed by agriculture at 30%. But I think it's very important that we realize that small business looks towards the county for direction, and not just towards their municipality. Of the various sectors that were identified there, small business was the largest respondent in that. So I think that bodes well. Even in our official plan, we talked about the responsibilities we have on roads that go through business communities. So again, I thank you. And I think the small business community, we very often wonder who notices the governance of the county of Middlesex. All eyes seem to be on the municipal governance and not the county governance. But I see that changing in the business community, that small business are looking towards the county for direction. And I commend you for the report, and just advise council that that sector was the largest respondent to this survey. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Nope. Then I look for a mover to receive this report for information. And that would be Councillor Richard, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? So moved. Thank you. Now moving on to 11B, 2021 investment report. Cindy, whenever you're ready.
Sure. Thanks. And through the warden to council. In front of council is a 2021 investment report. The investment portfolio is ministered by county staff and is invested with Scotia McLeod. Combined investments amount to approximately 43 million, and there was a cash balance of approximately 28.5 million. The portfolio earned on average 2.5% during 2021. The portfolio has a good maturity ladder and a mix of short-term, long-term, and cash investments. These balances reconcile to the audited financial statements. The cash balance was higher as a contingency for possible impacts of COVID-19. And of course, if you follow the markets, the low investment yields in bonds and GICs in 2021. The Bank of Canada has recently increased interest rates in 2022, and we expect them to increase again this year. And the bond and GIC rates have also started to increase in 2022. For example, in July, a 5-year GIC rate is about 4.6%. So we are seeing those rates go up a little bit. So I hope when I come back and next year and the year after, we're going to see some of those increases in the amount we earn. Administration will continue to work with Scotia Wealth Management and monitor interest rates and the economic trends with the goal to maximize the portfolio returns in accordance with our investment strategy. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Cindy? Oh, Councillor Vanderheyden.
I just wanted to kind of point out that, this is great. We're still getting investments and we're still getting some money on our investments because I know that it was pretty slow for a while there. And I just wanted to point out to whoever is listening to this meeting, sometimes it seems like there's a lot of money sitting in these things, but it only takes one bridge or one road to go out for something to be catastrophic to our community and to our opportunity to operate the way we need to operate. So I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit, just so we can highlight that, or go to Bill, whichever.
I'll jump in and respond to Councillor. And if our CIO wants to, he's welcome as well. You're absolutely right. We really do need to look at liquidity, and we also have to look at the risk. So we also have to look at low risk in order that we can get cash available to address some of those issues when they arise. And you are right. If we have one of those happen, that's a lot of money that we would need quickly. And that's why I talked about the ladder approach. We really do work with our investment provider, maturities across, and say, what do we have current? What do we have long-term? If I have to get cash quickly, how am I going to go about doing that? So there's a lot of thought and process that goes into that. And if you could just, I totally follow the markets on a daily basis. We're not talking about equity here, but you really do have to understand what's going on in the stock market and the GIC and bonds to get a general flavor of what's going on. But liquidity, as you mentioned, Councillor, is very important.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? If not, then we have on the floor here that 2021 investment report be approved as presented. Mover? Councillor Ropp, seconded. Councillor DeVitt, all in favor? So moved. And now we have I believe it's coming in on Zoom. Is that true? Social Services Relief Funds, Phase 5. And it's a report from Cindy Howard and Joe Windsor, Manager of Social Services. Oh, there's Joe right there. Welcome, whenever you're ready.
Hello, thank you. And thank you through the warden to council. The county has continued to see an increase in need of shelter spaces for individuals and family who are homeless. Through Social Services Relief Fund, the interim accommodations program that has been running out of the Countryside Motel has been pivotal in supporting those individuals and families with housing supports and other wraparound community services and supports that are required. The county will be utilizing funds through the SSRF and the Homeless Prevention Program, or HPP, formerly CHIPPY, to extend the interim accommodations pilot project to March 31st, 2023. This will give individuals and families more time to find appropriate housing and provide supports. This current contract will be with CMHA Thames Valley Addiction Mental Health Services, who have been providing the frontline supports for individuals and families in the program. Thank you to CMHA Thames Valley Addiction Mental Health Services for all their hard work and dedication to this program, and to the Countryside Motel as well for being such a strong partner in our community. The remainder of the SSRF Phase 5 funding will be issued through the Whatever It Takes Fund, which will support funds for last month's rent, rental, and utility arrears, and any other supports are needed through the community for our homeless or inadequately housed individuals. The final allotment for SSRF Phase 5 funding is $250,000, and it will be coming to an end as of December 31st, 2022. The motel program, since March 2022, when we came to council last, has helped over 65 individuals and families with children with shelters through the motel program, but also with housing, which is very limited, and community services and supports. Thank you. Cindy and I are available for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe or Cindy? Councillor Burkhart Jessen.
Thank you. And through the warden, thank you very much for that update, Joe. And I guess I'm asking both you and Cindy to look into your crystal ball, because I know you have one that predicts the future. There's no question that this has been a successful program, and that we have been able to help and assist those most vulnerable in our community. But you know, your report indicates in a number of paragraphs that this is final funding. So how are we preparing for 2024? And I guess the winter of 2023 into 2024, because I think like we should be starting now.
Thank you for the question through the warden. I wish Cindy and I did have a crystal ball. It would definitely help in a lot of our planning that we take, that we do, but unfortunately that doesn't, we don't. So I think what we will continue to do is look for other avenues of funding that we are able to apply for. Every once in a while, there are different funding sources that we can continue to apply. But I also think that we are going to be utilizing the housing attainability study to help us guide us. Where should we be moving next? If the motel program is the right avenue, then absolutely that'll be one path that we will take. But we will also use that report to kind of see, is there anything else that we should be doing differently for Middlesex County to help support our homeless populations? Cindy, I'm not sure if you want to jump in and add anything else to that.
Thanks through the warden to the councillor. As part of our service agreement with the City of London, we also can provide a business case in regards to homelessness. So Joe and I are going to be looking at the data that we have from this pilot, the success of this pilot, and prepare a business case to the City of London as well to ask for additional funds. Because as you know, the amount of homeless dollars that we get without social service relief funds is very minimal, less than 130,000. So we would not be able to do this pilot program, or also all the other great things that we did, our programs and services that we use social service relief funds for. So that is another step that we're going to try. And then I continue to work with council on advocating with our local MPPs around the importance of the homelessness funding and how we can ensure that we get additional dollars that's very comparable to our neighbors as well. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Vanderheyden.
Thank you. I was going down the same path as Councillor Burkhart Jessen. This is supposed to be a temporary solution to a big, huge problem that we have. And we can keep throwing money at a hotel, which is working. But I mean, March, that's in the middle of winter. Just saying that's not a really good month to stop that. So we need to have a solution that's not temporary. We need to have those wraparound services to help individuals to figure out why they're homeless, how we can get them the services they need in order to become not homeless, whether that's a new building somewhere in the county, there's got to be some other options. And I know we're doing this study, but we cannot let this go because, you know, we can't say, okay, good, we've got these people taken care of for the year. Let's figure out if we can get some more funding for the next year and the next year. That's not a solution. That's a temporary reprieve from what is now becoming a huge issue for our communities. I mean, 65 people having to live in a hotel room just so that they're not on the street. That's a significant number for small communities. So there's not really a question there. It's just a matter of we need to keep moving forward. And the City of London is who we have to also talk to and say, enough, we need this for our communities too. It's not just about London, it's London, Middlesex.
Okay, thank you. And also, I just want to add that as a member of the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus, one of our priorities this year is mental health and addictions. And I've been actively working with one of our policy advisors to connect him to the different branches that we use in the city to talk about that. And we're really working hard on building those connections and look forward to the report that comes out that the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus will be advocating politically in the future. So, okay. Any other questions? Then I have a motion here that the interim housing contract as attached to this report be authorized and approved, and that the General Manager of Finance Community Services, Cindy Howard, be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the corporation. Mover, Councillor Justin, second by Councillor Elliott. All in favor? So moved. And now moving on to 11C, correspondence and information items. So through 11C1 all the way down to 11C9, we have the county payables. Any questions about those payables? If not, I'll look for a mover to accept them as presented, just 11C1 to 11C9. And that would be Councillor Richard, seconded by Councillor Elliott. All in favor? So moved. And then moving on to 11C10 all the way down to 11C17 correspondence. Any comments or any correspondence you wish to comment on? No. Okay, then sorry, Councillor Vanderheyden.
Just if I could on the Lake Huron pipeline piece, and I know Kathy or Councillor Burkhart Justin was in the meeting the other day. This is the connection to the Oneida Nation of the Thames through Middlesex Center and then Strathroy Caradoc and then up Falconbridge, Christina, Longwoods, and then up into the reserves. So this is an important project all the way around. And if there's any questions on that, we would be happy to answer any of those.
Any questions from that report? Okay. All right. Nothing else? Then I'm going to ask that item C10 and item C17 inclusive be received for information. Mover? Councillor Robb, seconded by Councillor Elliott. All in favor? So moved. Any inquiries? No. New business? So I'm going to ask now that the Committee of the Whole rise at 1:59 p.m. and Council resume the regular session. Mover? Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Mayhew. All in favor? So moved. And now I would like Council to allow us to convene in closed session at 1:59 p.m. in order to consider personal matters about identifiable individual and labor relations or employee negotiations in accordance with subsections 2392B and D. Mover. Councillor Robb.